Alright, hello there. Today I want to try something a little bit different. I have not seen well, I shouldn't say anyone. I haven't noticed anyone make a video, a 10-minute crash course, how to make a Modern Warfare or COD 4 montage video, how to do it, start to finish, the basics, color correction, motion blur, organizing, music, how to do it, and how to do it quickly and in a clean way that's not too overdone or too crazy or too many colors or goofy color correction or anything like that. So let's go ahead and just do this in a decent way. So the first thing you need to do is, I use After Effects CS5, not sure what you're going to use, that's your choice. Go to File, Import, and File again. This is going to, whatever directory you're going to use to go to your clips. I made a folder just for today. So tutorial, the one I'm going to use right now is a high-rise clip. What you're going to have to do is again, you should be using raw clips in After Effects that you're getting from your PVR, because you don't have any load time on After Effects when you bring things in raw. They need to be in 59.94 frames, especially if you're going to use Twixtor. I'm not going to do that today, but with motion blur, the higher frame rate definitely helps. So drag your clip down to this little icon here. This is the new composition icon. It's right next to 8BPC. So right there, click and drag. Brings your clip onto the timeline. Your clip is in baby blue. Not sure what color it's going to show up for you, but it's baby blue for me. If you want to move right or left on the timeline, you have to click on either of these two gray lines. So go ahead and click on there. That'll bring you to wherever the action is on your clip. I know mine starts about 3 minutes 5 seconds. So somewhere in here, I throw a knife. Let's see, and it gets a guy in the spawn down there. So I know that starting about here is where I'm going to need the clip. Now you say, well, I don't want all that stuff, it's going to take 4 days to render, and that's probably right. So go ahead and click on this yellow bar here. This is your work area tab. This is where it starts. So go ahead and bring the tab to where you think you're going to need your clip to be from. Again, remember, you're going to need a little extra footage on either side for editing and for organizing and stuff. So drag your clip down to the work area where you think you need it to start. If at the end of it you have too much extra left over, you can drag the work area end over a little bit to the left and make just where you need the action. Again, you don't have to mess with the blue or anything like that. So now that we have our clip ready to go with where we're interested in, let's go ahead and do a general color correction. What I like to do is find a part on the timeline where you're looking at the open area where as many different colors and things are taking place. Wow, did not mean to do that. Okay, and when you're doing color correction, you need to have the quality on full so that you can get the full idea of what you're doing. Now, I'm not going to go over how to download software because that is not exactly legal and I don't want to get in trouble. So let's go ahead and just assume that you have Real Smart Motion Blur and Magic Bullet Looks. So to add a new layer, if you want to use looks, you have to go to Layer, New, and go to Adjustment Layer. And then you're going to go to, now that you're highlighted on the adjustment layer itself, go to Effect, Magic Bullet Looks, and click on that. You're going to go here and see a button that says Edit. Click on that. That'll bring you to your editing menu. Over on your right, I'm definitely not going to go over this. This will take forever. You have Post, Lift Gamma Gain is one of the big ones. That's going to be your general color correction. Oh my goodness, I hate that crap. So this is your general color correction. Lens is where you're going to get that edge softness that people use, the vignette, the film look, all that stuff like that. I'm not going to have time to go over that today, so I'm just going to apply one that I normally use. Let's see, I call it color correction clean CC. A lot of yellows. Again, this looks different when you're looking at the bright sky. You can change things very easily on this color correction. If you go to your Lift Gamma Gain, you can change from a green, you can bring things to the green very fast. You can bring things to red very fast. But I like to kind of the yellow in between, clean browns and things like that. Nothing too crazy. When you're all done with that, click OK. And it'll bring you back to the main icon, and it definitely looks a bit better if you ask me. The next thing that people do most often, again, you're going to have to add a new layer, adjustment layer. The thing that people do quite often is Real Smart Motion Blur. If you can manage to get that somehow, again, I'm not going to tell you how to do that. The two settings you need to know the most are blur amount. You're going to want to set that to 1. and you're going to want to set the motion sensitivity to 100. Okay, those are the two things. That's it for motion blur, that's it for color correction, that's it for After Effects. When it comes time to render, go ahead and add to render queue. That's under composition, add to render queue. Lostness, this is big right here. Click down here on lostness. This is, if you don't do this, you're not going to have audio. So click audio output, go down to 96 Hertz, that's the highest quality they'll let you use, which is unfortunate, and 32 bits, which is the highest quality again. You don't need to change best settings because quite frankly they've already done that for you. Your output 2, that's where it's going to save to. So it doesn't really matter, I'm just going to leave it in this folder because I'm not going to render it because this is probably a 20-minute render. Once you have everything set up over here, click render and you are set. Okay, so that video is done. Let's go ahead and switch gears to Sony Vegas. Click down on where you have Sony Vegas. Again, I'm using Pro 9. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to cancel this. It's loading a project. I don't want that. Okay, new project. This is how I have mine set up. I'm not sure how much time I'm running at, but we'll see how this all works out in the end. I like to have a screen kind of large in the front. I don't use much for my transition page or my effect page because I don't use any of those on here because I've already done that in After Effects. Over here I have where I click on transitions or any of my input or anything like that. Basically my main menu. Down here my timeline, I have room for 5 channels. I guess I could have more, but that's all I really use. Now when you get ready to bring your clips onto the timeline to get ready to assemble your final video, the one I just rendered, the high-rise one, that is this. So go ahead and bring your clip into the timeline. You can move it anywhere you want. You can play it. There's no sound for you guys, but there's playing sound for me right now. This is the knife off the roof and into the spawn and gets the guy. It's not too bad. Every time you bring in a clip, this is going to be a pain in the butt, but this is something everyone needs to know. Right click on the clip itself, go to properties, you want to unclick maintain aspect ratio, you want that unchecked, leave loop, everything else is fine, and you also want to disable resample. So again, you want to uncheck maintain aspect and disable resample. That's 2 very important things. So bring your clip over, not to the very beginning, because then what happens is your clip just starts playing at the beginning. You want to drag a little bit off to the edge, bring a fade, basic things like that. Those are things you should know on your own. When you get ready to bring in multiple clips, so let's just go ahead and bring in another clip here. It does take a second to load just because the files are like 2.5 gigs. Again, pain in the butt, but you have to go to maintain and disable every time. If you want to do just a basic fade, just across where things go, you know, and they kind of bleed together, you can see both things at once. You see the rundown and you also see high rise in the background. If you want to do that, it's really easy. You just take the clip, it appears over here when you begin, but just drag it and just kind of smash it together as much as you want. If you want to create the effect where things fade out and come back together, just grab on this. I shouldn't have glossed over that so fast. There's this little blue corner here. When you come on it, you get this curved highlighted fade bar, fade offset. Click on that and you can drag it in as much as you want or where you want. And what happens on there is that the clip will eventually fade out, get darker, and disappear. So it goes away like that, and then you can fade in your next clip, bring it over, and then the 2 together would look like this. Okay, just to bring the 2 together. And whatever you want to do is fine. It's up to you. If you want to do any kind of transitions with, a flare, or a flash rather, or a gradient, or any kind of a dissolve, anything like that, those are all over here. Play around with them. They're really easy. All you gotta do is put the clips together so they're lined up flush, pick a transition like this subtractive dissolve, and just put it on the line. That's it, done. When you play it, I'm not sure how clean it's gonna look on here. Yeah, you can kind of see it, but it's hard unless it's rendered, it's hard to see what it is. So if you want to get rid of that, go ahead and zoom in. Click on the X in the transition itself. Oh, this is where that window comes in handy. So if this window doesn't show up, you can make this a little bit wider. Click up here. This is remove selected plugin. And that gets rid of that, and then you can fix your clips and get everything situated back and whatnot. Okay, so once you've gotten all your clips figured out the way you want them, I'll bring in one more just to have another clip in there. We'll go Coarse. Again, these take like 10 seconds to bring in just because they're, 2 gigs, 2.5 gigs when you take clips like that. Whoa. Sorry, I had to move that off there. So let's just leave the clips back on like that. If you want to bring in some music, you know what I forgot to do right at the beginning? Your composition settings. Your project properties. That's going to be up here next to this blue icon, the render as. You're going to click over on properties. I have another video on how to do this a little bit better. I'll leave an annotation at the beginning when I open up Vegas so you can do this. 1280, 720, those are the clips. The frame rate is 59.94. Other than that, you don't have to mess around with much. Make sure you have the sample rate as high as it can go. Have the bit rate as high as it can go. If you're using a fiber optic cable, use 5.1. Again, I have a video with all of that in more detail. Click OK. So now let's add a little bit of music. Sorry, I'm jumping. Libraries, where do I have this song I'm going to use? Shoot. I think that's... Wow, I have no idea where that song is. I'm just gonna pick a song because it really doesn't matter. Anyway, so I brought in a song. Gonna bring that to a new channel. You don't have to disable resample with music, which is kind of nice. So you bring the music, line it up wherever you want. That's it. You can click on it. If you want the music to stop here, click on where you want it. Press S on your keypad. That puts a split. I don't know what I just clicked to do that. My mistake. And you can move this wherever you want it. You can delete the rest of it, anything like that. You have your music, you have your clip. If you double click, it'll select everything. Let's get rid of this, make this a little bit smaller. I hate that thing being there. Anyway, so you've got everything highlighted and selected. When it comes time to render, go ahead and go to the Render As button. There's a few different ways to render. I have the video about rendering and property settings that I'll have the annotation for. But the best way to render is to go to Save Type As and go to the bottom. It's called XD Cam. Your computer might not be able to play it, but that's really not a big deal if you're getting ready to upload to YouTube. So this is basically, if you want to watch it on your computer and not have to worry, go to Windows Media Video and just go to 720 at 30 frames, 6 megs, anything like that. When it's time for YouTube, go down to the bottom. Click on XD Cam EX. The template you're going to want to use is HQ 1280 720 60 frames at 35 megs. Again, you're going to have to use a different player like VLC or GOM to play that, but it doesn't matter. If you're getting ready to upload it, that's the highest quality you can save and upload onto YouTube. I think that's it as far as a crash course is concerned. I have no idea how long this ran. I'm going to have to try and cut it down to make it all fit, but thanks for watching. If you think that I missed anything or want anything cleaned up, just let me know, and I will do my best to get that taken care of. Okay, have a good